Hi everyone, and welcome to our full album review for Eminem's The Marshall Mathers LP2. This is the Classic Ruess podcast. My name is Holden Stephan Roy.
I am your lady friend Bonnie.
And we're back.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Oh, it's so good. We took some time off after about 3.5 years of a rigorous, pretty non-stop schedule. We just didn't do it for a while.
Yeah. And we just pulled the COVID card and just said,
I mean, but here's the thing. We're coming back. We're going to try and be more concise with it. Maybe the videos will be a little bit shorter than going on for 6 hours on this album. You know, I get it. We got the point. But we're still here. We're still going to keep coming back week over week. You're going to see the Classic Ruess podcast, and we're going to go through every single song on Eminem's The Marshall Mathers LP2, track by track. But here's the thing. If you want to see us do that bonus content, get this video to 500 likes. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm going to do some YouTuber stuff. Because, if you guys really want to see it, we'll go in on that video. If you want to see that, get that up there with the like button and smash that and the subscribe and leave the comment. And, I don't know. You can do all that stuff. If you love what we do, the Patreon links down below, all that good stuff. But, I make music myself, and I'm going to plug that right now because I dropped a song recently called Lose Weight because I lost a lot of weight. You can go check a last year video, and you'll see it's like more like that going on. All right, so you can check that out. Let me know what you think. It's up on this channel. With that out of the way, why don't we get into it? Bonnie,
let's do it.
We have talked about many Eminem albums on this here channel.
We have.
How has your feelings towards Eminem changed since the very beginning of our journey listening to his projects? Because this is the last studio album up until the ones I've already covered in the newer ones, but on this channel for us to cover.
I feel like maybe, I don't know, maybe he's changed in like a different way. Like maybe, I discovered a lot of his really early stuff, and I also discovered, some of his later stuff. And I don't know, personally, I like the stuff that I grew up with and was of my time. That's always going to be 2003 to 2010 sort of time. That's gonna be my Eminem era and maybe a little bit earlier, but I don't know. I mean, I think his later stuff is just sort of he's kind of searching for things to be talking about.
Let me re-ask it differently.
Okay.
Would you have called Eminem the best rapper ever prior to being on the Classic Quest?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that now, having done all these albums, including all these Eminem albums?
Well, it's not so yes or no now. It's, at times I think he was definitely the GOAT in his life, but I think that, he has wavered. He, nobody stays at the top forever. And, he definitely competes. And he definitely, tries to do different things, and I think it's good because you can't just, keep expecting the same thing over and over and over from him, and so you kind of have to learn to adjust your ears to different things from him. So I think that that's sort of the challenge, and I think that that's kind of what he touches on a little bit in this album is because he's kind of talking to the fans and also to the fans that he's kind of disappointed and let down, and sort of the negative side of some of his fans' feelings over his growth, I guess. When you stop doing drugs and partying all the time, your life gets a little bit boring, and so sorry if his songs aren't all crazy and whatever anymore. It's sort of a growing up version, and
okay.
He's in his 30s, and how exciting is life in your 30s? Maybe not so exciting. It's fun.
Are you kidding me?
It's fun and everything, but it's not you're partying it up and you've got whoa, all these things to talk about. But
that depends on your life. But I'm gonna say if I had no work.
But he's also got kids and all these other things. But yes, he also has a lot of money to kind of help him out. But yeah,
fair enough. I guess I like that because I would argue it's the same thing. If you go back to the Marshall Mathers LP1 review that we did, which I think was the first one we did on our journey at Eminem, it is also our best video in terms of views, and the like ratio is fucking great. It is surprisingly good for early behind that suit work.
Sometimes we say good things.
Anyway, so, back then I was straight standing the whole way through. And I think over the last 3.5 years for myself, or 4, whatever, it's almost 4 years now this channel's been alive. I've definitely moved Eminem to a point where I do listen to like occasional tunes. I happen to be a huge fan of Music to Be Murdered By, and I love it as much as when it dropped. I think it is very much a return to form, and it is my third favorite Eminem project. And I don't know, I guess coming into this album review, because Marshall Mathers LP2 is a little special to me. You might have heard this one before. Have you heard this when it came out? Because this is 2013,
I really
right?
don't think I did. Not ever, like, fully.
So, I mean, for me, this one, of everything we reviewed, is special in a sense because, A, I'm a fully grown adult by the time this album drops. I'm in the peak form of technology where acquiring music is simple, where it's 2013. And I'm old enough to, like, have a better understanding of, like, life and whatnot. So it was, like, kind of cool. Plus, a big thing had changed in my life. I had started rapping because that was 2012. So, I mean, I'm sure you have the release date, November
5th, 2013.
So I know it was November 2013 because I'm in the middle of Lahore, Pakistan, in a hotel room by myself because I don't really know a lot of people there. Not many people speak English. And I'm there for work. And that album came out. And I spent quite some time by myself in a hotel room. And there may have been a baked version of a green substance at my disposal, and I was in the room consuming that, enjoying this album on repeat in a foreign country, and it was a mind trip.
It's
Plus,
cool.
I had just turned 26 because my birthday is November 3rd, so I mean it was a pretty special time in my life, I suppose, and I have a lot of positive nostalgia going into this record.
Okay,
like a
cool.
lot of positive nostalgia. Boy, we're going to get into this review, but oh boy, did I hit some kind of reality checks. And because, everybody seems to hate this album that I know that's a hip-hop head, and I wasn't sure why. I get it, yo.
Yeah.
But so you haven't really heard it going into this project. So this was kind of like your first ever listen, but you've heard everything before this from Infinite
And
to
I've
this
heard
point.
some of the songs, just from, like, radio play and whatnot, which has something to say.
Fair enough. All right. Going in, we should just get into the review part then.
Let's do it.
I just wanted to like start up with a refresher, and I thought that would be an interesting question. Y'all can let me know if you have questions in the comments. We will interact with y'all. But what do you think about? So the title, it's very clearly meant to be a sequel.
Yep.
To the first one.
It's his life.
His story.
Yep.
There's a lot of question as to whether or not he delivered on the sequel, and I think that will be the question we answer at the end of the review.
Mm-hmm. And then the cover is just like a picture, sort of like a sepia or black and white, I think, a version of like...
it's not black and white. It is faded.
It is sepia, I think, maybe. Anyways, it's a picture of an abandoned house, and it is said to be his childhood home.
And it's before it gets demolished, which happens, I believe, not in real lifetime. It happens within 2 years after this picture or this album comes out. The actual home gets taken down.
Yeah.
And I like it because it's a callback to the first album cover, the first one, where he's sitting on that house, if I'm not mistaken. And that was how that first one took place. So I thought that was nice, and it does.
But this one is a little bit brighter, like sort of like it's still like, kind of dreary, but it's sunnier, I suppose, like in a sense. Like it's brighter, it's not so dark. It's sort of like he's kind of like come onto like the other side.
What I thought was super noteworthy is the absence of Marshall in that picture. Whereas in the first one, he's kind of sitting there looking pained with his head in his hands, kind of crouched over. He's not in this picture. And I thought that was noteworthy as well, but I couldn't give you a good commentary. I just thought it was noteworthy. So if y'all have theories as to why Eminem's not in the picture this time, that would be interesting for me to read. On that note, we're not, like I said, we're not doing the deluxe now, so there are still 16 tracks to get through.
Yep.
It's going to be a bit. We're going to try and condense it into a reasonable amount of time.
We're going to try.
The first track is, though, a 7-minute monster.
Yep.
Quite the epic start.
Yep.
It's almost like Eminem is Billie Eilish.
Almost, but not quite, not to be confused.
Duh. All right, Bonnie, how do you feel about this introductory piece?
Whew. So this is, the sequel to Stan, apparently. This is, I'm just kind of getting all these little tidbits off of, what Genius said. And I didn't know that this ever really existed. So he's like growing up, and it's sort of like another like sort of gruesome murder sort of planned, and this is supposed to be Matthew, like who I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm
Matthew Mitchell is Stan's brother. So the
but
whole
is it his actual brother, or is it like a metaphorical
Stan
brother?
is already a fictional
like the
character.
Eminem?
Because don't forget, Stan in it had a little brother.
Like I just got confused with like the whole story.
Because he goes, I got your, here's a starter cat. I got your brother a starter cat, you know, whatever. He has that whole line. So this is Matthew, the kid. He references the starter cap. Like he's the one who received it, telling you as a little, because that, as far as anyone is concerned, I don't care what anyone says, this song is the best representation of a tie-in sequel to the first album. Does he live up after this? But this is amazing. So it's because it's from the Matthew Mitchell would be Stan's brother, and you can tell that from different clues like the cat and shit put into the song. Plus, he kind of like leaves nods like, "Did you even bother to check up on me after that whole situation? Like you knew it was us, like because you put it in the song, you know, you knew it." And so there's just different things like that that kind of peek in, and so the whole beginning of the track. I mean, not to like just to explain that.
No, that's fine because I was just I just got like lost in like the whole story and who was supposed to be who, and
it is vivid like storytelling. Like I'm not gonna do it again. I won't bore y'all with a bar by bar breakdown. Y'all can go through it, but just to give you a sense, you know, it's like a minister digging up old hurt. So just like that. So it does have like a clue to the past. So he's sitting there thinking about his past, right? Tried everything to get my mind off you, it won't work. So I think there is the double entendre element as well, right? So it's obviously Eminem reminiscing, well, not obviously, but he's reminiscing on his career, and he's thinking about all the impact of everything that's happening.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, every bar doubles over here as the perspective of Matthew Mitchell speaking to Eminem. So it's like I'm sitting here digging up this old hurt of my brother dying because of you fucking obsession.
Okay.
Tried everything to get my mind off you. It won't work. I can't forget it. All it takes is one song on the radio. You're right back on it, reminding me all over how you fucking just brushed me off, let me so burn. So now he's just going about his day, but Eminem's fucking everywhere. So the song plays, and you know, it kind of cascades from that, you know, like it's like you seem to be doing fine. Well, I've never recovered. But tonight I bet you thought that whatever you're about to go through is tougher than I've ever have suffered. So he's kind of laying like it foreshadowing. In as I'm coming to get you, putting the shovel in the trunk, all of that shit, and then it slams into that beautiful serene chorus where Sarah Jaffe, whatever, I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
I don't know why she's not featured. I mean, we discussed this off camera, just like because my best guess is Eminem uses beat camps. This is fact, and sometimes these beat camps provide him hooks on these beats. And that's my best guess as to the difference as to why he features some people and not. It depends, I think, on if he chose to feature the artist or if the beat came with it.
Yeah, I really liked her. She sounded, she reminded me of Melzy, actually.
That's really cool. Anyway, so it's just fine. Honestly, the chorus is kind of generic sounding lyrically, but I do believe it's serene, it's beautiful, it fits nicely.
Yeah.
You know, your second verse, it's like the story goes on and he kind of gets bigger into his head. He's obviously flexing his rhyming, like, you know, reap what you sow, wait, you know, like those little things, forget it. Like he's doing his flexing. He's showing you what's going on there. He's also describing the impact of what's happening with, like, you know, after Stan died. And, you know, it's just pretty much that. It's really...
And, like, the impact it had on him, like, as, like, a, you know, a person and whatever as well.
But what makes it special is that if you re-listen to it from the perspective of Eminem's psychological trauma of his own music on himself, all the bars also fit. So everything about that, right? Like, so, and I used to think that you was the shit, bitch. So that's Matthew Mitchell idolizing Eminem and no longer, but Eminem believing in himself as Slim Shady, fucking ready to go on drugs. And now he has that self-doubt. To think it was you at one time I were shit, egotistical maniac to the lack of... Anyway, that's what makes this track brilliant. And I think it's truly fucking brilliant. But then there's that third verse where it's like he actually goes through and does this fucking like revenge plot shit, and he breaks in and he's like, you know, like I reached my full potential, I peaked, continue to peep, still bent low, then keep tapping, and it's like, it's good, but I realized it's so long, and then he spoils it with, hey, here's a sequel to my Mathers LP just to get people to buy. How's this for a publicity? And it's like, yo, Eminem, you just broke the fourth wall and a little bit hurt this song. And I'm not gonna lie, that whole verse, when he goes in, Eminem killed by Eminem, Matthew Mitchell, bitch, it kind of like takes away from the brilliance. Like, you just don't trust the audience to get it like you do with your skit on the next track, because that was a big leap of faith in the next track. But in this one, you just gave the whole fucking thing away just to make sure everyone got it.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then it just keeps going and going, and then, you know, the whole Frank Ocean, say you hate homos again part, it is cool. Like,
Yeah.
I do like when he goes, shoving his pig, Lincoln Town Car. The way he rhymes that, it's really fucking well done. All of these things happen to poke through. So for 7 minutes, there's a lot. And honestly, you can rewind it several times, and you're going to keep catching shit. And then the song track, basically at this point, we've recreated Stan. He's kidnapped Eminem, put him in the back of the trunk.
And like drove like into like the water.
And the beat builds up the whole time. But then to me, the song goes nuts. Everything before that, it's all right. But this last bit, that's produced, I guess, by Street Runner, according to Genius, this fourth verse is by far the best one. It is my favorite Eminem moment. I think of the entirety of all of Eminem. Every time I hear this shit, I get chills. It just builds up. The way he layers his voice and shit, it is so impressive to me. It is just so beautiful. And it's the fact that Eminem does this self-awareness thing that I don't think he's really done to date at this point so eloquently, right? Like, I also represent, and keep in mind, there's like a demon voice.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, we've broken the fourth wall and shit, and it's like he's dying.
It sounds like more like epic and more like, you know, like it's like he's trying to make it like powerful and meaningful and like all of this at the same time as well.
And it's just all of the lyrics really just reflect the pain and the anxiety and everything that's happened. Like,
and he's spitting really like hard and angrily, like almost, you know?
I'm your karma closing in with each stroke of a pen. Perfect time to have some remorse to show for it. Because keep in mind, he's dying at this point, and his whole life is flashing before his eyes and shit in this, you know? And I don't know, it just kind of flows through, and I just think it's beautiful. It's a long thing. I love, my favorite line in this is grab some water, but on that pill that's too jagged to swallow. Because the fact that he does an Alanis Morissette reference like that, clean and legit, in a non-mocking way, is dope. Go Canada. I'm just saying. He obviously knew that album cover. Because I'm sorry, everybody knows Jagged Little Pill and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Anyway. And even the self-awareness. I'm the bully you hate that you became with every faggot you slaughter. Coming back at you, every woman you insult, batter. But the double standards you have when it comes to your daughters. I represent everything you take for granted. Because Marshall Mathers, the rapper's persona, is half a sad. And Matthew and Stan's just symbolic. Anyway. It really builds me up. It goes on for the rest thing. And it's just this triumphant... Like, I feel like you just got to start marching to it. Like, I can't really convey it. The beat just layers in. The effects on his voice are done so eloquently. And I just think as far as the artist side of Eminem goes, that outro bit is one of the most amazing pieces in his catalog. And very little on this album comes close to that again. Very little, like, I mean, we're talking like that grandiosity to it. Yeah, I don't know. I love it so much. I think this song is pretty fucking brilliant at an artistic front. It is clearly a follow-up to Stan. It is clearly a follow-up to the world of Marshall Mathers there. But it also, in the same way as the first album, is written to kind of self-reflect on his life. I think that from every element is pretty dope. But I decided I'm going to grade things harsher moving forward. This track is too long. Too much is going on in that first part. You kind of get bored a little bit until it flips up. You know that flip up is coming, so you're going to keep listening and you're going to suffer through it. But that third verse takes fucking forever knowing what's coming.
Right.
So 4.5 on 5. It's actually really well done. Kudos to Eminem for starting this one off as one of his best introductions. This is one of the best ways he started any album.
Cool.
It's up there with The Ringer. The Ringer was a fucking great way to start an album.
Yeah, I mean, I just found like the end of it, it sounded like he was like kind of like mad at like the fans that like, you know, he let down and that, you know, gave up on him, and he just kind of wants like that He wants that spotlight on him again, and he wants to do what he can to like impress you and get you back on like his team, and and like that's kind of what it is. He's sort of saying like that he's back and he's gonna try again, and he's gonna try to make it great for his fans, and like he's gonna give it his all, and he clearly doesn't want to be like the bad guy and like the one that doesn't do what the fans want. And so I mean, it's good, it's honest, and it's raw, and he's talking about stuff that he's going through, and like kind of how he feels and all of that. I mean, personally, I found like the story just a little bit confusing, but maybe I was missing something, and I had to re-listen to like a previous album again in order to get this, but and I'm sure people did, and that's why they got it, but I didn't, so that's on me. I don't know, for me there was like pros and cons to this being like the opener, because like it sounds like we're starting in the middle or like the end almost of a book, which I suppose is fair, because that's kind of where we are at his life, or at the middle of his life.
That's brilliant what you just said, because that's exactly what he's doing with this.
Yeah, and like that's why I mean it makes sense. It's like, yeah, okay, but it's also like quite like hard and honest, and sort of like a tribute, and like maybe at the same time a bit of an apology, like in a sense, to his fans. So like I get like having this at the beginning of it, to kind of like you would in a book, like who you're gonna have like the dedication to and whatever else. He does a good job, but like just sort of like off-putting, I guess, as like like a starter for me a little bit. So I gave it a 4.35 on 5.
I mean, that's still pretty high for you. And listen, I can understand how out the context it might be hard, but if you go listen to this track after with the entirety of understanding that double entendre, because there's just things to listen for. Because I remember the first time for me it was Eminem, Killed by Eminem, Matthew Mitchell. That was what caught it the first time for me, and we're talking like back in 2013.
Right.
So I rewound it and I just kept re-listening to it, and then it was like, like I had that, because I probably bumped this shit like 6-7 times in a row, because I'm in Pakistan and there's not a lot to do in my hotel room, right? And so I got this album, I downloaded it, I fucking torrented it or whatever, put it on my phone. This is pre-Spotify and shit. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Sorry, not to like gush a bit, but I did want to just draw attention, because it's actually really important for the next track. He's at the end, tragic portrait of an artist tortured and trapped. It gets like quieter and quieter, and it's interesting that it gets quieter, because the very last line, as his voice is the literal lowest volume you're gonna get on this track, he says the big key to the next skit that you really need to catch for the next skit honestly doesn't make as much sense unless you have a very keen ear. And he goes, as we pick up where the last Mathers left off. And that was interesting, because I knew he said something. I never really caught it the first time I heard this album. So this was like reviewer hats on. I'm looking for clues, and I caught that this time. So anyway, I think it's appropriate for us to move into the next track if you have nothing else to say here. Unless you want to add anything else to it.
I am good.
All right, cool. So we can talk about something that
the parking lot skit.
Yes. All right, so conceptually, this is pretty smart. No, conceptually. And I have to start it like that, because, I mean, I gave it a very low grade. So that "don't kill me, hurry the fuck up," shoots the teller, "thank you," and starts running is actually from Criminal. And it's exactly the skit in Criminal before that last verse kicks in. So it is really a direct tie-in. So it's almost like Bad Guy happens in almost like an interventionist kind of way, like the narrator describes some shit, and now the scene, and as you said, it was like a last chapter, like the epilogue / prologue interlude, and then now we see the scene of Eminem. He shot the teller, he runs out, and then he shoots a woman, and he shoots a dog, and then the cops shoot him. Oh no, he shoots himself instead of getting shot by the cops. And I guess the concept here that we're supposed to all take away is, if you do commit the life of crime and do the bad things happen to you. And I believe that while conceptually it's really cool, and I get, but it's not clear, right? Like,
yeah,
I need a genius to tell me that. To be honest, I didn't catch it. Like, maybe if I had just listened to Eminem LP1, okay, fine. And maybe it's really an Easter egg for the fans. But when you listen to this, just like without thinking about it, it's really awful to listen to. It is an unappealing bit of time. And I don't know. There's nothing like redeeming about shooting a dog.
Yeah.
Like there was no value in that. Shooting the woman. It's like, I guess this is just him being honest about how bad he was or something. I guess. I don't know. But it's on par with like really shitty 1990s rap skits. So I gave this a 2 on 5
Ooh, wow.
because it's really shit. It was really unappealing to listen to. Like it was just, I didn't have any pleasure or derived any joy from hearing it. It was just bad. And then you think about it, you're like, okay. And I bet a lot of people will make excuses for that. The fact that it sounds like awful to listen to. And maybe to you it sounds really fucking cool, but it's not like the parking lot skit on fucking like Before Soldier on M Show where he's like, fuck it, it's goofy. This sounds like really serious. And it's really dark. And it doesn't have any goofy comic vibes. It just kind of sounds like an asshole who kills, like it's just... Or maybe it's him killing this evil character of Slim Shady. Like, I don't fucking really know where he's really going with it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, like, the first time that I listened to, like, this album, this, like, skit came on, and, like, I was not in a good mood to be listening to this. Like, I just wasn't feeling it at all. And so as soon as I heard, like, that dog getting shot, I was like, nope, I'm turning this off. I can't listen to this right now. And so I had to like walk away. So it's definitely something that if you're not like ready for it, because who's really ready to listen to like a dog getting shot? Like, you know, it's jarring, that's for sure. And then it kind of like starts with like him like shooting and then like running away, and it, to me, it made me think very much like Grand Theft Auto, like the video game. Like that's what it sounds like, the way that he's like running and like
cool.
that, like it sounds like, and that's what all the boys were playing, like, you know, back then. And like at the end of it, he says like fuck it, and then like shoots himself, because like you hear the cops coming and you hear like all the sirens and like the helicopter, like everything. It's like, you know, all the cops are looking for him. And yeah, he just shoots, and like it is unclear whether it's like him or if he's shooting like a cop or whatever, and he's just kind of going out or whatever. But like I imagine it was himself, because I only hear one bullet. Anyways, it's like fine. Like I don't really know what it really adds or whatever to this entire album. I don't know. I gave it a 4 on 5. Maybe I was being generous.
I feel like it's just it's like, I thought about it. It's a contrived way to force a feel of this album. Whereas I actually think Rhyme or Reason, as we get to it, does a much better job of what I think. Like, okay, anyway, I have a theory on all of that. But like, I just listened to it like 3 times in a row because I try to do that. And I'm like, yo, this sucks. That was my feeling. Like, it's not an enjoyable skit to listen to over and over again. And I'm trying to be more harsh with my grades so that I don't give shit praise. It's not really well made or anything. It's not super fucking clear what's happening. It's more like you have to try really hard, and then, oh, Eminem did something quirky is your end result. It's not like, okay, like Relapse is a really well-written art album nobody likes, but the concept is well delivered. It's just the sounds are kind of whack. Okay. This is the same kind of thing. The concept is well delivered. The actual sound is really whack to me. Anyway, you ready for Rhyme or Reason?
You betcha.
Shout out the Zombies. Shout out Time of the Season. That's a good track. I
is.
fucking bump that shit regular because, yo, there's something to like that. Who's your daddy? Do-do-do. Is he rich like me? It's the strangest hippie line I've ever fucking heard, because it's like a hippie song.
Yeah.
And that is like such a sugar daddy line. I don't know.
I'm sure there were rich hippies.
Anyway, what do you think about this track before I get into my convoluted theories?
I like it. I like the use of like the Time of the Season, like you said. And he does like great rap on this one. I don't know. I loved the Muppet voice that he does. You know, I thought that was like cute. I always appreciate the Muppets. You know, and basically he can't leave hip hop. He just keeps getting like pulled back into it. It's like the great seductress, and it's coming after him. And like, you know, he spits about still being the best, but he can't hear anybody else that's like nearly as good as him. So he's not like, he's like, am I still the best? Because nobody else is good like me, you know, kind of. and he's still got like a job to do. His job is to keep being the best, and at this point, he just kind of goes hard, and he's like here to do it again, and he's gonna bring it. And that's kind of what it is. Like, it's simple and good, and he's here to impress. So I gave it a 4.5 on 5.
I first of all love this song. So this is one that I can't help but keep going back to. But it's also symptom. You'll see a symptom here of something that happens when Eminem and Rick Rubin work together. Rick Rubin and Eminem will find a very, very, very popular song. They did this a lot on fucking Recovery or whatever whatever the fucking 2017 album was. They did it a lot on that one. But they'll take a very popular song, a sample, add some heavy fucking drums to it, gloss it up like a pop song. Because, I want to talk a bit about the mixing and mastering on this album.
Yeah.
You can actually see it in the live footage for Survival, but at this stage in Eminem's career, think about where the man is performing. Now, something that a lot of people probably don't think about is that most music is actually created for the live environment where it will be performed. So punk is going to sound the way that it does because it actually sounds blessed in the venues that it gets performed in. And that's why, like, when Wu-Tang went to Place Bell in Montreal, which is a stadium, it sounded like awful. It was not worth $90. I will never spend money to see Wu-Tang in a big venue again. If they come to a small venue, I'll do it. But, the sound was shit. It didn't sound good. And there's something to, like, certain sounds working in certain environments. Lots of smarter people have talked about this to me, but, like, classical is supposed to be played in particular rooms to optimize the sound. It was composed for circular ceiling medieval rooms and shit. All of that to say, Eminem is in stadiums at this point in his career. Every fucking song on this album is not performed for a grimy underground hip-hop venue. It is designed and intended to have a high production live performance behind it, and you can hear it in every beat. You can hear it in every choice in the mixing and mastering on this project. This is where Eminem, I think, really truthfully and fully embraces his status as a pop star and just gives up. I'm talking sonically. Like, everything about the mixing and mastering here is meant to be big, loud, just you picture it in the Bell Center or whatever fucking stadiums in your town, and it's just for that big fireworks, like,
yeah,
or like maybe not this one, but I was thinking of like Survival, like fireworks going off and shit for the beat of that. Like, that's the world that he's in. So I think it's super interesting. But then I just think when Rick Rubin and Eminem work together on these beats, it's always just lazy. Like, this beat is not innovative. They literally just bought the rights to use what the Zombies made a classic.
Because it's a great beat.
So this is shots at Rick Rubin and not shots at Eminem, though. But Eminem sounds brilliant on it. Like what's your name? Marshall. Who's your daddy? I don't have one. My mother reproduced like a Komodo dragon. Had me on the back of a, and then it goes on from there. And basically, this track is bars for days. Like, it is really well done. Yeah. The voice changes are fucking ridiculous. Everything about this song is enjoyable. If you're a fan of Eminem's lyricism, of super tight flows, the way he rides the beat, the way it just is masterfully composed. As far as I'm concerned, at this point in the album, I was posting on Instagram stories and shit. I don't get why y'all fucking hate this shit. It's so good. Because it really is at this point. Everything about this track is fucking dope. Like, the way, like, the intensity, like, ever since I drove a 79 Lincoln with white walls, had a fire in my heart and a dire desire to aspire to die hard. Like, dope writing. Amazing shit.
Right.
And then it just flows through. I'm not going to go through more of the lines. Honestly, it's just that good the whole way through. You are pleasantly surprised, but I'm not going to say anything else is like overtly caught my ear, like, oh my gosh, the insightfulness, because it's not what it is. Eminem, as I've come to see, is not an insightful fellow. He's just a witty fellow. He is the equivalent of a one-liner comic dropping the best one-liner comedy you're ever going to get in terms of hip-hop game, I think. But it's amazing. The flows are amazing. Everything is so good. My favorite part of the track is when he goes, put together with Chief Keef, because I fucking hate everything. Yeah, even this rhyme, bitch. And it's like, quit trying to look for a fucking reason it ain't there, because you're like, what the fuck did he bring up Chief Keef for? Is my thought. Like, what is the point of this? Like,
he's
I don't know.
I'm just going to say it.
Or maybe it's because Chief Keef hates everything. Or maybe it's because he's angrier than rate things. Or maybe it's because whatever. But I just kind of like the fact that he's like, I don't even fucking like this rhyme. It sucked. Fuck you. And then he's like, but I'm still criminal. And then I like that part where he kind of does that rhyme, and the way he goes, emerald, is really fun. But I thought it was super interesting because I actually think the meta concept of the album is brought into play here. So Marshall Mathers LP1 starts off with Kill You, which is a fuck you song against his mother.
Okay.
Now, a bunch of time has gone on, and as we'll come to see, Eminem no longer feels this way about his mother and has recognized that, honestly, it's his fucking loser father that is the problem. And let's be real, whatever issues Debbie Mathers may have had, as a 32-year-old man now, I look at the situation like, fuck Marshall Mathers the second. You know, fuck, that's his dad because he's the third. So fuck his dad. He bounced out, he dipped, and he abandoned his family. And then the mom did what she could.
Yep.
So she did it. So I think Eminem has acknowledged this and, you know, realized this. So instead, it's like, I'm going to redo the album, but I'm going to change the tone. So it's no longer his life is negative and he's mad at his mom and he's a rage monster, which was the point. He actually, in the spirit of Kill You, wrote Rhyme or Reason, which is the kill you against his dad. So flipping the tone of the whole album, making it a very interesting spiritual successor to MMLP rather than a sonic successor, which is I think what everyone was going for. But yo, Eminem's a pop star now. He's not like a fucking underground rapper, battle rapper dude no more. He's so far out of that shit. Eminem's not doing rap beef battle tracks no more. You know, he's sober now. So I think he flossed, he did his shit, but really he laid venom against his father. And he really brought that up in like a really strong way. And I thought that was super cool. And then even the part where I also like when he's like, you know, understanding his role as a white dude and just kind of questioning shit like, hip hop is the devil's music. Does that mean it belongs to me? Because I just happen to be a white honky devil with two horns that don't, you know, like. Right. So it's kind of like, again, self-awareness and shit. I don't know. I fucking dug this track. I don't have a lot more to say about it, though. The beat's fucking fine. I love the way he bounces. 4.75. He has a Yoda voice. He delivers it well. Yeah, it's tight.
Well, you know what the next song is?
It's not so much better. All right, let's talk about positives, because there's not many for me on this one. Oh, you weren't expecting that so early, maybe. But, yo, the beat of this track is actually the same chord notes as Criminal, that doom, 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 and it's redone and repurposed. So, again, it's pulling back to the first album, and he basically kind of altered the beat of Criminal. Does that make it a spiritual successor or anything? I don't fucking know. I just thought that was interesting and kind of cool. But what do you think about this one?
I don't really know. Like, he's better than Lupe Fiasco and Drake, I think. And he wants them to die. Because if they weren't here, then, you know, life would be so much better.
I don't think it's about them. It's about the bitch who fucked them.
Yeah, okay. And then on the second verse, I thought it was like, you know, he was doing different things, but on the second verse, so he's sort of like whining about like this girl, and again, same sort of thing, you know, like what a bitch she is and blah 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 blah, and how his life would be so much better without her. So, you know, just hoping that she will just like drop dead, and you know, seeing a theme with this song. And then, you know, this one sort of sounds a little bit more like a classic Eminem type of a song. And it ends with like the whole like, just playing girl, you know I love you, like, which, you know, he has said on other songs where he...
But it was Eminem show that he said that. It wasn't even MMLP. It's Eminem show.
Well, whatever. I think he just something that he uses.
It's the MMLP2. That's a relevant point.
All right, that's fair enough. That's fair. Like, I just thought it was like something that he just says after he like insults a bunch of women, and he just kind of says it, and he's like, oh, you know, I'm just kidding, right? Like, you know, like when you could just like say whatever
maybe
you
he
want.
Does, I don't know. Does he say it on MMLP one?
I'd have to check. I'm not sure.
If I was wrong, y'all let me know in the comments, and I'll accept and I'll concede.
Yeah, I mean, I give this one a 4.35 on 5. I thought it was, you know, it was all right.
It is. It's from Kill You. I'm so sorry. It's haha, ladies. You know I love you.
See, I knew it was from wrong.
Like. I'm sorry. I double checked. Okay, go on.
I win.
You do. And
yeah, that's okay. Your turn.
Here's the thing. It's boring. That's the truth of this song.
All right.
Right from the jump. You fucking groupie. Pick up the guy. Like, okay. I don't know. Maybe at this point, I've just heard a lot of bad Eminem women songs. Like, he doesn't have a lot of versatility.
Unfortunately, Kill You really was so much better.
Hey.
Like, I love Kill You.
Kill You is a great song, but we're already like past that part of the album, right? So now we're like in the middle. And so he goes to So Much Better, which is like what? It's about a woman? Is it about Kim? Is it about hip hop? I don't fully get the metaphor that we're going for, and I'm certain that like maybe there's some brilliant concept point, but I realized something. I spent so much time in the past trying to find meaning in songs that kind of suck. And here's the thing, I don't actually enjoy this track. The beat is kind of annoying to listen to. It's like this twangy, slow kind of sound where like the more I played it, I didn't find it like bumping. In fact, it might be one of my least favorite Eminem beats because I don't actually feel this way about a lot of the instrumentals he uses. Even on like fucking Relapse, I liked him more. And then it's like where the fuck were you Tuesday? With who you say? I wasn't at the studio, bitch. What you do, Screw Dre? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's even done this metaphor idea before, like where hip hop, like on the last album and like, you know, 25 to Life and shit like that. Like he's gone down this path. He's already used this core idea, so it was already kind of boring. And then you fake lying slut, you never told me you knew Drake and Lupe, you want to lose 2 legs. So I guess maybe he's picking out names that he respects in the game and shit. I don't know why he's name dropping them. But it just sounds like this whore that's going after these men. Maybe it's because of the media. Maybe it's like whatever. But at the end of the day, you're like, okay, so this groupie smashing all of you and you smashed her. It's like at the end of the day, Eminem looks like a fucking loser in this track. Like that's my problem with it. Like all of it is really lame. Although he does mention blue Kool-Aid here, and then later on he mentions a Kool-Aid stain he can't get off on the album, and I wonder if those things are connected.
Interesting. Good.
Because the Kool-Aid stain that doesn't come off is on So Much Better, and I'm going to forget it by then, I promise. So just in case, maybe that's like a reference to like all of his women problems that he can't get rid of, because he's really obsessed with it. Like straight up to fucking music to be murdered by. There's still boring ass, like it's basically a song that's this song on every album.
Okay.
And it's like, this is just not, I don't know, it's not that
fun.
great. Then you get the chorus, my life would be so much better if you just dropped dead.
Like,
I was lying in bed last night. And I'm like, what the fuck is this awfulness? Like, sometimes when Eminem bad sings, it's really good. And again, y'all may enjoy this, and I respect the fact, but I was listening to this, and I've listened to so much great music this year.
That's fair.
That this is trash. This is the first time I think I've really listened to an Eminem song was like flat out, this might be trash. I don't actually ever want to hear this song again. Do I think it's poorly written? No. But I also think that the writing's weird. Like, because a woman broke my heart, I say hot art because she ripped it into parts. Like, okay, so let's break down that bar so you can see the real brilliance. He took hot art and made it 2 syllables because she ripped his heart into 2 parts. That's just weak. Okay, it's just what it is. Threw it in the garbage. Who do you think you are? Yeah. I would call that kind of lazy writing if it was anyone else. Is his delivery pristine? Yep. I don't know. It's fucking lame. What's being like? I don't. It didn't age well. It's not a good song. I gave it a 3.75 on 5. It is. Right. It is just not good. Is it bad? No. Under 3 is when we start going to bad. It's not a bad song, but it's way not in the realms of good to me. It's not. It doesn't pass. That's fine. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree.
Okay.
But this channel's survival is based on our honesty.
That's true. You've
just spent $200 on Eminem tickets, and now you're in the stadium, and there's fireworks and lights.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's a single, so you know it's getting played. It's got a music video, and in the music video is live performances that validate all of what I was feeling about that stadium shit. Because, you look at the size of those audiences he's performing to, and there is nothing less than 5 figures in Eminem's life anymore. So, and this is, like, I mean, it's gotten bigger and worse for him in that regard now, but I don't know. It's a strong song. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. It's a hype beat with like a chant for you to sing along to, and it already sounds like it's something that should be played in like what is it, on a stadium, I guess. So it already has that feeling, and so it only will be enhanced with like actual people chanting and yelling like "oh" or whatever like along with it. So it's only gonna make it like so much better. So definitely. It's very like cinematic in like a sense, like it's made for that. And like, sort of talking about like that he wasn't prepared to deal with like everything that life has thrown at him, including like all of like his successes and everything that came along with that, and like, the negatives that came along with that too. So he sort of chose what he had to do to keep surviving and, to make it through. And, sometimes he made bad choices, and but he changed, he adapts, he overcomes, and he's still here, and he's still thriving, and he doesn't stop, and he keeps going. And it's a hard sort of like never gonna like give up like kind of a story in like the song. And he says that he will accomplish his goals that he sets, and he's here to like bring it. And it's very like also like heavy on like the drums and like the electric guitar, and it's very again very set to be listened to live. So it's very good. It's hype. I give it a 4.5 on 5. If I saw this in a concert, I probably would say 5 on 5.
Fair enough. I do love how it starts. I think the best part of this track, and I guess that's to its shame, is that it is the best part of the song, is post the first chorus when he goes, wasn't ready to be a millionaire. I was ill prepared. I was prepared to be ill, though. The skill was there.
Yeah.
And then everything goes a little bit downhill for the rest of the track.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
So this is... I think this is where I think the curse of generic Eminem really starts to peep in, because he did a lot of these moves on the last album with the Pink track and all of this, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
So like you're at this point where, like, at least in the underground grimy battle rap shit, there was an innovation in whose name's gonna get brought up next or whatever. Like it was kind of like there was almost a gossip angle to Eminem's drama. Mm-hmm. I could swear this is any of the pumped up really loud songs on the previous album with a pop singing chorus and just hyped up like the Cinderella Man or any one of those, okay. Right? And that's kind of my thought listening to this is, yo, I heard this song before, right the whole way through is I heard this song
but like
before.
That's it, he does it and he does it great, and this is what he does.
But like you don't actually, I feel like you ever have the sense so badly of, I already heard you do this.
Okay.
Because this is just in that same, I'm not afraid, live myself up kind of like banger anthem. So it's like, I went through stuff. I fucking did it. Another anthem. Why stop when it doesn't have to end? He's admitting it. That's what he's doing now. This is who he is. He came in here. He's going to fucking lift up the stadiums and elate them. He's going to ruffle feathers.
Because I think he's realized that people like, like these like stories of like overcoming and like being challenged and like giving it your all and, like, I don't know, trudging through and, but making it through on the other side. And like everybody likes that kind of like underdog story. So that's what it is. Like he's good at like telling that story and making it like hype and interesting.
I'll give you all of that, and there's lines like, I really enjoyed through the side of a pump, 0 to 60, hopping and gun it like G-Unit without the hyphen, I'm hyping them up. But at the end of the day, it's like G-Unit without the hyphen isn't hyping him up. It's not actually what it is. Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, I don't know, maybe I'm missing a point on that bar or whatever, but it sounds dope. There's a lot of it sounds dope, but there's not a lot of, yeah, like I have to go back and play this again. Nah, this is honestly not for me. This is for my mom. This is for the people in the cars on the way to work. This is for like a whole other audience that isn't me.
That's fair.
I really respect it. I think it's this big track. I respect the talent in it. I like the kind of music video element where in the music he's clearly promoting like a Call of Duty or something. I love the fact that he spray paints and gives some shout to like the graffiti elements, but the video is boring. The song's kind of boring. It's just like well produced boring. Like it's really well made, not for me pop boring. So that's kind of why I gave it a 4.1. I think it's really well made, but not in my interest sphere.
Fair enough.
Anyway, I don't have a lot more to comment on it.
Well, let's check out Legacy.
What do you think of Legacy?
This is like him sort of, it's like he's talking about, being in high school or like, maybe like early, late elementary school or something like that. And, it's something at like the beginning, like of like his, I don't know, story, I guess. When he's getting picked on at school and, it is something that he's talked about previously, that he's, been bullied and all of that. And everything he does is part of his legacy. And, he always just felt like, a weirdo or like an outsider or something like that. And, he didn't fit in and he didn't get along with anybody and he was like little and, whatever. And so he needed to do something that was going to make him feel huge, right? And like it's what he did. And like that's kind of like what his legacy is that he was made to feel so small and insignificant and whatever and picked on and whatever else, and that the world didn't give a shit about him, and he came back with a vengeance, and he was the greatest rapper of all time, or so they say. And so like it's kind of cool. It's, again, he's that kind of overcoming and triumphant kind of story that he's great at kind of doing sometimes. He's great at all kinds of things, but that's one of the things that he's good at. And kind of again sort of like that like survival of like his kind of like childhood. Like this is more what he's talking about, of like kind of like that shit that people who have like a shitty childhood and like high school experience can definitely relate to. And there's lots of people like that, unfortunately. And so it's it's all right. It's not necessarily like the most like entertaining, but it's good and it's honest and it's about his roots. So, it's nice. So I gave it a 4.25 on 5.
I liked it. I did. I felt it was a step up from the last track. Do I think it's amazing? No. This is like a forgettable good song. Like anytime I hear it, I find it kind of enjoyable. But if I didn't hear it, I would forget it existed, is the truth of this song. The beat's very subdued, the raining in the background. And I think it's a callback to the idea that, so like I think a lot of what this album is doing is revisiting the topics that made up the first album under the brighter perspective. So instead of hating on his mom, he's going after his dad. He's still mad at women. It's still complicated. That's still the same. And so in this case now, the bullies thing, we're revisiting it.
And it definitely ties back to like even just like the album cover where it's like his childhood home. So it's kind of like what he was experiencing like at that time.
And so like back then it was like, yeah, the bullies don't fuck with me because I'm violent. And now it's like, well, now there's an extra layer to that story. And so he brought the first two verses, which is, I feel like verse 1 is the same in both eras. I was a kid. I got fucked around. The bullies are huge and they took me out. That's all the way from back on the first album, or Slim Shady LP. And then in the next one, he's a teenager and he's got this music to escape through, and he realizes that whatever, it's fucking, aggression and blah, blah, blah. And what really made me respect this track a little bit more is because I've come to love it when artists shout out their influences and actually kind of shout out the history. So the fact that, Onyx inspired him, so he did that. Or that's where the Fife Dog from A Tribe Called Quest. That's really cool too. Like that he gives that shout, that love to these people that kind of brought him to where he is when he was becoming the MC that he is. And then in the third verse, it's basically now he's fucking famous, so whatever, he's the best. I mean, that's what it is.
Yep.
But what's really remarkable about this track is it all rhymes with the same rhyme. So it all rhymes with that fallen, noggin, mind boggin, Walkman, etc. That's in the second verse. The first verse, fallen, Martian, involved in, often, my mom, home, awkward. It all like, and the way he rhymes it, it's all the same the whole way through. The whole song is that rhyme scheme. I used to be the type of kid that always think the sky's falling. So that all in there, every single basically line and all of it, like diabolical rock is, in the third verse. Oh, my ass. Even like that. He says it all in the same kind of voice. So kudos to Eminem. And at that level, there's a little technical element, a little poetic cue that makes it a little stronger. I do think the beat stands out. This doesn't feel generic. This feels like this is its own song. And while maybe thematically he's approached bullying and stuff, just this tone he took, the somber, mature looking back, almost like he's sad he had to go through all of that to get to where he is now. And there's like a cruel, dampened, poetic darkness attached to his success because this is the cost of it.
Right.
So on that, it's all really cool. I do feel like it's a good follow-up to the first album. I like that. Next track really gets a little more upbeat, you can say, as we talk about the chocolate starfish, the asshole. I mean, I don't really know what else to add. This is like the same fucking song that we've just heard. I feel like the last three songs they sound like in the same mixing skew. There is like a difference in tone, so yes, like it's more upbeat, but like he's thinking back on his career, he's acknowledging his role in things, like, it's fine. I love the flow. Like, came to the world at a time when it was in need of a villain and asshole. That role, I think I succeeded and fit. Like, it's fucking good. Like, it's fucking dope to listen to. The beat's upbeat and pumping. The drums is fucking banging. Skyler Grey isn't annoying yet. She becomes annoying later on in life. I don't think Eminem should use Skyler Grey on future projects, but at least here it's cool. Like, it's nice. It's fresh. overall it's like really cool. I think the first two verses are really good. I even enjoy the way he like attacks this, like, you know, ask Asheroth when he roundabout dissed me to shout me out. Like, it's fucking fun when he kind of brings up some shit. And because apparently Asheroth had said, really, it's just crazy that he even knows my name. That was his response to it. But like Asheroth was you know, kind of, I but he didn't do that college song. Like, wasn't that him? Like, did that fucking wonky ass rap song? I don't remember the actual context of it, but I know who he is, and I think it's kind of cool that Eminem is like really willing to go as far as to kind of diss him. Anyway, because it was Asher used it as a, like, M was great. Yeah, he paved the way for me. He was inspiration from everyone from A to Z. So that was what he said. And he kind of dissed him in that compliment. So Eminem kind of...
It was like a backhanded compliment. Okay.
And so he's like, quit acting salty and then act salty. And I think it's kind of funny. I think everything about this track is all good at that point. It's all playing into it, you know. The references are good. And then we get to the third verse. And you went, holy backward, I'm the biggest jerk on the planet Earth. Smacked a girl out to make kind of blood, whatever. Then screamed, ICP in this bitch. How do fucking magnets work? Because you're attractive and I ain't attractable. And I'm like, yo, fuck off with your ICP shit. Like, at this point, the ICP thing is so dead. Did ICP drop a song called Miracles where Shaggy Too Dope, unfortunately, has the classic lyric, fucking magnets, how do they work? I don't want to talk to a scientist. The motherfucker's lying and making up shit. Fair enough. It's a stupid lyric. The point of what they're saying is pretty smart. Because as we've come to see in recent times, there are scientists that are motherfuckers lying and making up shit. And actually, if you look in history, there's lots of examples of scientists lying and making up shit.
I guess.
So at like a face value lyric, it's stupid. At a conceptual level, it's actually kind of good. But let's talk about it. ICP has done a lot for a lot of people in the last decade. Eminem has not done that. Eminem is pretty selfish, is what we've come to see. Eminem is an egotist. ICP's like literally led a march to Washington for fucking civil rights.
That's
and had
cool.
to anyway. So all I'm saying is, in 2020, ICP's kind of respected in a way as underground legends, and like, I don't know, Eminem does songs for 16-year-olds, so it's like, I don't know, maybe that was, I'm just saying, when I heard this, all of that went through my mind, but it's just, they run it for so fucking long. Like, the ICP shit is really a big part of that verse, and it's just not enjoyable for me, so it really put me off. And then he goes through the rest of the verse, and it's okay, but it just, I don't know. It just, I didn't want to listen anymore because I don't want to diss ICP. I mean, I get why he used to diss ICP, but like, even in 2010, ICP's music was pretty, like, that album with Miracles is pretty good. It's a good album, even if that track's a little goofy. Anyhow, they're on their up and up at that point. Okay. So all I'm saying is it felt cheap, and as a juggalo, I didn't like it, but I don't know. Or the whole, because you're a gold digger since you were a minor, been trying to hunt me like a dog because you're on my ass, but you can't get a cent because all my spare time is spent. And it's like, oh, shut the fuck up, man. I don't know. I guess that whole third verse just didn't hit me right.
Okay.
But I recognize it's really good, and everything I said's a little petulant, so I'm not going to, like, add it to it. I do think this is a song that if I don't listen to him on that third verse and I just kind of get that past it, it's pretty good. It has that Eminem aggressive assholeness to it. The chorus slaps hard. It is stadium music, but I think it's got a great energy. So I gave it a 4.35.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it definitely has like a strong beat and like a fast flow and everything else as well. You know, and he's just sort of saying like he has acted like an asshole, you know, basically because he was like the best and he was just treated so like he could be an asshole and people would still like do whatever for him. So, you know, but like unfortunately I think he realized that after like maybe being like that, you know, people don't necessarily respect guys like that, and you know, they expect him to be nicer and like more mature and like, you know, ready to deal with shit and like, you know, but yeah, so sometimes he was like riled up and acted like an asshole, and yeah, he's just kind of like, you know, owning up to that, and like especially in like rap battles he mentions that as well, but he's done with like feeling like bad for himself, so he's not going to be like a lump kind of like whatever, and he's going to take over again, and he doesn't kind of give a shit about anyone, and he's kind of like back to being sort of an asshole. Like, I wasn't really quite sure. But I mean, it's well done. It's not my favorite, but I like it. And he's an asshole apparently, but like from most stories that I've heard, like of people having worked with him and stuff like that, I think I've said it before, like, he has been like told to be like, a nice guy and very decent and friendly and like sincere and everything else. So I don't know if necessarily, well, I mean, depends maybe if he was on drugs or drunk and, just was, if you're with like your guys, maybe you're going to be a little bit more like showboaty or like assholey or whatever, because like, you're with your guys. And I don't know. I gave it a 4.5 on 5. I liked it.
Awesome. The next track is the lead single off the album and is the halfway point, we can call it. So let's discuss Berzerk.
Okay.
I gave it to him. Rick Rubin did not entirely go ahead and jack a popular song. There's a little more effort into completely stealing. And no, but to be fair, when I say steal, I mean Eminem walked up to Rick Rubin for this one and said, I want to make an early hip-hop song. And when they say early hip-hop, they're talking evidently Beastie Boys 1986 type shit, right?
Yeah.
And that's what this is. This is a Beastie Boys song written in 2013 by Eminem and Rick Rubin. And I guess Rick Rubin was involved in the writing of the old Beastie Boys shit. Okay. So, I mean, it actually kind of works. Everything about this is actually really awesome to me. It's awesome to me having listened to Beastie Boys and understanding their significance, the scratching, all of the way this beat goes, but just the way he rhymes it, with the like, sticker, that's my pigment, just the way he does all that shit, he flows it well. The way he rides the beat,
yeah,
it's so well done. He's like, shout out to Kendrick, and then Kendrick shows up in the video, which is hilarious. I like lines like been public enemy since you thought PE was gym bitch, because again, nice. Like just sneaking into this early hip-hop shit where you're like, all right, because that's true. When I was young and you knew what public enemy was, I did in fact only think PE was gym until I got older.
Mm-hmm. Physical education.
I don't know, then like it's cool, like the pre-chorus is fun, like kick your shoes off, let your hair down. It gets goofy, it's fun, and this is basically the real Slim Shady track of this album, right?
Okay,
but
yeah.
It's done in like a much, it's so cool. Like I think this is cool. Like I think this is a track for hip-hop heads, mm-hmm. that's done in a pop way that I think appealed to maybe neither group the way that he was hoping for, but since I love pop and hip-hop, it's hitting me perfect. I don't know.
It's more like hip-hop. Hey.
Then he's got the whole dress code in the second verse, but really it's the Kid Rock part that I fucking love. So come get this Kid Rock, ba ba da ba, dang dang. And then you have Kid Rock coming in and saying the wrong lyrics, but like he does it like ba ba ba, then pow 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 pow, chicka pow pow, grab your gal going up a valve. It's just good. It taps into scat, and I thought a lot about it.
That's cool.
I think scat is highly underused in hip hop. And I think people should understand the value of that shit as a lyrical thing, and when it's done well, because Eminem does do it. Like if you think of Square Dance, yeah, he does it there a bit. It's fucking cool, and he's basically tapping into that when he does this shit here, and I think it's nice. Anyway, then the track goes through, and it's kind of fucking good, and I don't know if there's like any other particular lines that I thought were like super next level, but like, Royce is in the video. Overall, it's really fun. He fucks the ugly Kardashian, and then the track ends. It's really big, it's really anthemic, and that's just kind of what it is, but it's got a great beat. Eminem does some vocal play that's dope, and I actually really love this song listening to it today, now more than I did when it dropped. So understanding what they're doing with it, I actually think they delivered pretty well. 4.5 on 5.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, definitely. It was inspired or whatever by Beastie Boys' "Fight for Your Right," and it has also for me like some sort of something that's similar to "Shake That Ass," like a kind of like a reference back to it. And it is sort of like a fun, goofy, sort of like Eminem sort of song, and yet still like at the same time, exactly like what you said, a nod to like old school hip hop, like for sure. And he's a great rapper, and he does a really great job on this one. And at the same time as it being like a reference to like old school hip hop, at the same time it's very like rock influenced. It definitely has like a super strong energy to it, and I like you were talking about Rick Rubin, and he's mentioned in fact on the song. So Anyways, it's definitely like a good one to like hype up a crowd. I think this is definitely like another like stadium hit. So I give it a 4.75.
The next one's really special to me.
All right.
Let's talk about Rap God. Last July, as in 2019, a much larger version of myself went on stage at Just for Laughs Montreal on the outside with the big stage. I haven't got the video over on my Facebooks and whatnot. I might have put it on this channel. Actually, it is on this channel. You can look for that. And I spit Rap God live, and I killed it. I'm not trying to be like arrogant about it. I mean, I nearly got it syllable for syllable in a live environment without a hype man. I killed it. So if anyone ever wants to question it, Eminem said you can't criticize him if you can't do it. I can fucking do Godzilla. So let's talk if we really want to go into it. If you can do Godzilla, then I guess you can talk about a lot of shit. I'm not really like trying to say you can't have an opinion if you can't, but Eminem said that was fucking important for the ability to criticize him, and
yeah.
I'm bragging because it's not easy to be able to do that shit. Rap God is a very long song, and while at this moment it would take me a couple of refreshers, I can more or less do this track by heart, and I have to say it was a challenge to do this song the first time. Back in like 2014, I did this song, or maybe when it dropped, I did it. I thought it was so cool, and I actually bombed. The only time in my life I ever did not enjoy the performance was the first time I did Rap God. The second time I did Rap God, I actually did it a couple months later to redeem myself. I did it all right, but I had a lot of trouble remembering it because my knowledge of hip-hop was not very strong yet. Then we started doing Behind That Suit, and we started reviewing stuff, and all of a sudden, as I went back to Rap God preparing for that illustrious 2019 performance where I did it pretty well, I realized there were just so many clues and hidden things in this song that are just
it's like the more you know.
Like, as an example, I had a lot of trouble with this part, but as rude as an indecent as I hell, syllables gonna haul like this, kill 'em all with this bibbity dibbity bibbity pop. You don't really wanna get into whippers and mash with this rappity rap. This part was all simple. All of that made sense to me. This next line, I always had trouble with it back in the day. Packing the Mac in the back of the ack. Then we did Big Pun. And all of a sudden, packing the Mac in the back of the act, packing the Mac in the back of the act, packing the Mac in the back. And how can you ever forget that? So now when I get to it, I'm like, you don't really want to get into whippers and mash with this rappity rap, packing the Mac in the back of the yak, pack, rap, crap, yap, yak, yak. So like, you get to that, and it adds this level of understanding what he's actually saying here. Like, you really want to come at him? Yeah. He knows these things. He can go and dig in.
And he knows, like, his history.
Which is what he's doing there. So not only he's pointing out he's from the 90s, and then he drops fuck it up, big pun nugget where honestly it's an if you know moment.
Yep.
And a lot of people that went over their head. And then because Packing the Mac in the back of the act is a lyrical acrobatic stunt that Big Pun would brag about doing to get better, he drops it up with that. And I think say, "Time I attempt these lyrical acrobat stunts when I'm practicing that," and then goes just nuts with it. With the next line, the flow's pretty crazy. I still be able to break a motherfucking day, but the back of the faggot sing, and it's like fucking nuts. So he just doubles it up like that. Anyway, it's all right. We don't have to go through the rest of the bars. This track is 6 minutes of fucking ridiculous, The people he shouts out. I'm a product of Rakim, Lakim, Shabazz, Tupac, NWA, Q-Pay, Doc Ren, all of those people he shouts them out. Meets Run DMC, says a bunch of gay shit that would never pass in 2020 and was kind of awkward to perform on stage in 2019. So it is what it is. But it's all right because it kind of even pulls back to the, Dre gay lines of the other LP album. It's fine. But that third verse is when it goes fucking nuts. Let's be real, right? And he goes through with a lot of cool lines. Like, one of the lines that didn't mean a lot to me even until DJ Black Hurricane got us to review Organized Confusion is when he said, "It was king of the underground, but I still rap like I'm on my Pharaoh Munch grind, so I crunch rhymes in sometime." And then you realize, oh my god, Eminem really did jack that shit. Not jack it, but like he's so inspired by it. And I don't know, it's just really cool. It's just really enjoyable. It builds up, and then everybody knows Eminem says the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life when he goes Suma Luma Duma Luma. Like, that doesn't mean shit, okay? I don't know. It's just fucking garbage, whatever. Suma, and he does this whole thing. So the fast part, you assuming I'm a human, what I got to do to get it through to you, I'm superhuman, etc. And it's all fun to say live. It's a lot of whatever. There's a couple of other bars that are kind of like you know, he's still making, you know, beating women bars and whatever. It's an awkward song to perform live, and as a white, you know, dude in 2019 going aware of all the shit I'm saying. I don't know what being white actually had to do with that. Being a person in 2019, I'm like saying this shit like, I forgot bad of the women, and I'm like, I just said a bar about beating women because I'm dead. Anyway, it's fucking great. I just think this song is 6 minutes. Like, this is it. This is, in my opinion, one of the greatest songs in his career, because it's really hard to perform this shit. You can do it though. It is actually doable without a hype man. He uses a hype man. Eminem can't perform this live without a hype man. I've never seen him do it without a hype man. He always has his fucking dude there going like, he'll be like, so this is how Eminem does it. Some of them, you was I'm a human, what I gotta do to get it through you, I'm Superman, innovative, and I'm in a rubber, so everything you say is quick shade through you, and then he goes, as the next dude finishes the line, and then he jumps back in and does it. He takes a full fucking breath because his hype man finishes that last bit for him. So, the little bit of the magic taken away. I was a little bit disappointed in Eminem, throwing it out there. Okay. I didn't have no fucking hype man doing that for me, so I'm trying. Anyway, I'm not better than Eminem. Eminem, fucking, he's great. This track is brilliant. Okay, like the beat's so awful though. Like it's awfully obnoxious, but it really goes back to a time I think in the '90s when the beats are stripped down. They're really not that appealing, and they're meant to draw all focus to the vocals, the delivery. And he just flosses and he makes it happen. End of the day, it is one of the most impressive tracks in his career. It is the first time he broke a speed record that wasn't actually true because there were faster guys at the time, but nobody knew about them. Right. I digress. He's the first famous guy to be tracked, I guess, by Billboard to go that fast. And yeah, it is what it is. It's a 5 on 5. Yep. This is possibly the most impressive track on the album. Possibly is one contender.
Yeah, I mean, and like you were saying, like it kind of like starts off with like a clip and like a news, like old school kind of like news anchor from like a cartoon or something, and it sounded very like MF Doom like inspired. So I feel like that was also kind of like a callback to like horrorcore, and like that's, you know, what he loved, and like, you know, what he does throw into some of his songs. Like he likes that sort of like genre. So I think that that's kind of like cool as well. You know, this is basically the song where he validates the fact that he is a rap god by like spitting hard, fast, and talking about, you know, all that he's accomplished, but not leaving out like, you know, who led him here and who brought him here and like all of that, and kind of like nodding off and like, you know, sort of like an acceptance speech at like the Oscars, like sort of like also kind of like saying like all these people like helped contribute to like my success, and like, you know, by them being them and like doing what they did, like they're awesome and they're great and kind of inspired me. So kind of like that as well. So yeah, I thought it was like a nice beat. And like he flows like on like different beats sort of like throughout the song, but it works. And, you know, he quotes like, you know, a lot of like superhero comics, which he like has definitely like made reference to in like past songs and past music videos and things like that. He definitely likes comics and superheroes and kind of like that sort of like overcoming and like, you know, all of that. You know, and you know, I like that he mentioned Pharaoh Monch and like all of that. And he basically flows on and on and on, and it does it so like easily and like smoothly, and like the song is like obviously epic because, you know, and I can't really say anything bad about it. Like it's just like awesome. It's, you know, he's a genius. The song is a genius, and he is what it is. What, you know, he is what he is, and he's saying it, and this is what it is. Because if he wasn't, then why would he say he is? So it's a 5 on 5 for me. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Next up, we have a song that, I mean, it sucks to be the song to follow Rap God. Let's talk about Brainless. Here's the thing. I feel like we already heard this track. Like, this is the second song about bullying and life being hard. This one's maybe a little more going in on the bullying. Like, he's a little bit off and his mom's calling him kind of brainless or whatever. But what's verse 1? He's really young, you know, and he's got his case of Tourette's. Like, fuck. Like, it's not that actually clever. It's fine. But I love the way he rides the beat. I love the energy on this beat. Yo, the beat is the best part of this song. Straight up. That is a good beat. And the way he bounces on it is amazing. But then you're like, whatever. He's fucking around. He looks like a wuss. He gets fucked around with. The kid's huge. Reminiscent of the guy on the other album that fucking shoved him in a locker.
Right.
Chorus is whatever. I don't know. Maybe you like it, but I feel like it's fine. If you had a brain, be dangerous. A brain, and whatever. Fine. Who cares? It's not that interesting. I'm saying, like, it's as far as Eminem choruses go, this one feels like he phoned it in. It's fine. The verse is the second one. He's a teenager. He's got some shit going on, and I don't know. Like, what's going on? He threw a break. Or whatever, sorry. He's starting to blend more in school. This shit helps for sure because he's rapping, I guess. He's being able to fucking come through. And so he migrates into rhyming in the second verse and it gives him kind of strength. But that sounds like when he was just listening to Onyx and shit on the other track. Yeah. Like, I feel like it's the exact same progression in this track. Fine. And then he does door hinge, syringe, and orange. Oh, come on.
Goes back to that, yeah.
Everybody's always going on about how Eminem can rhyme with orange. Anybody and their fucking brother can rhyme with orange if you understand the concept of a fucking feminine rhyme. Like, most rhymes aren't direct rhymes. Like, that's bad writing. Good writing is playing with more complicated rhymes. So if you think it's impressive that Eminem can rhyme syringe and orange, come on. Everybody who can rap should be able to do that. It's not impressive. It's not even that clever. It's not hard if you understand multisyllabic rhymes. Maybe back in the day they didn't, but I'm pretty sure like Pharoah Monch could have come up with that same shit in 91, all right? Like, it's not that impressive when you know the history. And then what? Verse 3 comes through and, you know, I told you one day, I said I had a red carpet rolled out. I'm like, oh, so I guess now he's famous and whatever.
There you go.
He's lashing out. I thought it was kind of fun when he said a stroke of sheer genius, smoke and mirrors, tactical, practical jokes. Yeah, you motherfucking insult here. That was funny. That I did enjoy. Then I guess there's more fucking like that white trash traffic and grid last shit hopping like 6 bars from a Kid Rock and saying Crown Posse and and then it's like, why you bring them up again? I guess because it's Detroit and he's up the street from them and that's a real thing that happened maybe. I don't know. And the song just kind of ends and I'm like, insane ain't even a word, you stupid fuck. Neither is ain't. It's like, shut up. Ain't is a word. Ain't is a normative word, actually. That is not even true, Eminem. You're not right. You're just not correct based on how language works. Ain't
but it's what people always say.
But ain't isn't a word. I guess, okay, I get your point. I get your point. I'm not going to drive that home. I'm just a geek like that.
Yeah.
Still, this sounds a 4 on 5. Okay, like, it doesn't do anything, and it's literally just... We've heard, like, am I wrong?
No,
like, am I making
right.
that up? Like, is it not just what we just heard? Like, fucking, like, 4 songs ago?
Yeah, it's pretty close. It's, I don't know. I mean, he starts off and he's just kind of like, oh, I'm the talk of the town. Like, everybody's talking about him. But I think at this point, nobody was. Like, I don't know.
No, he was
like old news.
He was a big deal in 2013 still.
Still a big deal, but I don't know if everybody was talking about him. But anyways, there's like, you know, and like the old like news anchor again. And we have him like sort of just saying like, talking about lobotomies and things like that. And like, you know, taking out his brain. And then his mom just kind of being like, you know, if he had a brain, he'd be dangerous. And like, I feel like that's like such like a mom expression or something. Like, you know, you would say that about someone because like clearly he's like popular and he's successful. And if he like actually, you know, was a smart businessman, you know, like he would, you know, he would be dangerous. Like, you know, he would take over and like do all these things and whatever else. And he would use his fame for like, you know, other things. And probably because, you know, he lived on, like, the edge a little bit and, you know, made some, like, stupid decisions and, you know, all of that, you know, she's, you know, so I think he's sort of, like, maybe, like, regretting some of the choices that he's made in the past and, like, you know, kind of fessing up a little bit and, you know, he's kind of saying, like, you know, I would just wish I'd used my brain and, you know, didn't make these, like, stupid choices and whatever. And then he, you know, he does use a lot of, like, brain and like head and like off the dome like type verses, and I think that that's kind of like, you know, tie into like the, you know, the title of the song and all of that. You know, it has some good rhymes, but it's not necessarily like my favorite on here. I don't know. I gave it a 4.2 on 5.
All right. Well, the truth is, Bonnie, I'm stronger than I was.
She must have been really weak.
Okay, look, this is like, I guess, Haley's song part 2 or something. Like, I don't know what he's going for on this. The beat is really big. And here's the thing. He's, like, featuring this, like, famous piano dude, Luis Resto. And when I really listen to the music, it's actually really nice. Kind of. The piano is nice. The emotion it captures is symphonic or whatever. And And then Eminem starts, yo. He used to say, I don't know, I can't even do it. It's actually just bad. He just whined.
Yeah.
He used to say I'd never be nothing without you, and I'd believe I'm shot in the lungs at gasp I count. Yo, if you check on Genius, it's not clear if it's Eminem or Kim's perspective in the first and second verses making this utterly fuck off. It's just a whiny ass song about Kim.
There you go.
About how they're on again, off again, bullshit's there. There's nothing in this track that is redeemable in terms of that is some whiny ass fucking singing he does here. It's really annoying.
Yep.
It is annoying. But you will break me. You'll just make. Shut the fuck up is my thought when I first heard that. Like, what are you saying?
Yep.
That's not true. Evidently, she fucked you up, dog, and you weren't stronger because of her. Like, you got weak because of her. That isn't what happened here. I'ma still be humble when I scream fuck you, cause I'm in my 30s now. Like, dude, you're in your 30s. What the fuck? I'm 32 now. If I walked around and I acted like that in any way, I'd be made fun of and laughed the fuck out of here, because that's not man shit. And I know we gave Eminem a pass for a long time, but this is pathetic. This is a pathetic tune. Then the second verse is awful, and it's just whatever. Like, cause yo, he's done so many good versions of this track. Like, Crazy in Love's a good version of this track, as an example. Like, it's pretty fucking, you know, up there, upbeat. You know, like, there's an energy. This is just, I don't know why. And then he does his rap verse. You walked out, I almost died. It was almost a homicide that you caused because I was so... No. Shut the fuck up, Eminem. You treated that woman like shit, okay? Like, you admitted it.
Yep.
And then she left you at some point, and you're going to act like that because she whatever. Didn't you cheat on her? And then, because remember in Kim, the song, he's like...
Didn't he try to, like, shoot her?
Like, he cheated on her and then got mad at her for cheating on him 2 years later. Like, there's so much irrationality in Eminem shit. You know, thought you were Bonnie and Clyde. Nah, the inside you were Jekyll and Hyde. So were you. So were you.
There you go.
And I guess that's the greater point of this track. But, yo, everything about this was fucking whiny and annoying. It was November 31st today. Would have been an anniversary. Shut up. Every one of these lines just made me go like, who the fuck cares about any of this shit?
Yep.
It's like Eminem felt sad about Kim, wanted to write a pop ballad on this pop album, and it really just showed that, like, I don't know, y'all could like this one. I think this is this might be the worst. This is, and Drips. I don't know if I like this least than Drips. I like Drips less. This is my second least favorite Eminem song in his entire catalog of everything I've heard.
Yeah.
3 on 5, because the piano part is nice enough.
Yeah, true.
But it's a boring song.
Yeah, I don't really have... It definitely sucks, this one. And it just sounds so pop. It's slower. Like, literally any angry, sad, sappy male pop star could have sung this song. And,
would have
like...
been better.
Yeah, like anybody could have sung this, and like it's just generic. It doesn't sound like it. It almost doesn't sound like Eminem, but like, you know, it is, and like, you know, bleh, I don't know. It sucks. You know, he's stronger than he was. Blah blah blah. We've heard it all before. He went through a shitty relationship. Blah blah blah. 3.5 on 5.
All right, let's move on to a smash hit where he left the singing to a professional.
Hell yeah.
Let's talk about The Monster.
Featuring Riri.
I mean, this song is exactly what it is. A smash pop rap Rihanna Eminem song.
Hell yeah.
I mean, after Love the Way You Lie and Love the Way You Lie Part 2, this just makes sense. They have the exact same chemistry. Not much has changed in their worlds. Things are still chaotic for both of them.
Yep.
Neither of them have locked down and found significant others.
This is pre-Fenty Beauty.
Rihanna has not yet taken out hits on her accountant, so we're not quite at that point in her career yet. She's also not released work.
Yeah.
The world is not better with that song,
and all
in my
her
opinion.
Sexy lingerie.
So, because I was watching the music video, and while I couldn't give a shit about it because it's kind of boring, looking at Rihanna in 2013 and thinking about like the way she almost breaks out of that shell into this new person is truly fascinating, and I think that's interesting. Like, Rihanna is such a character in music worth studying, just as a person, a pop star, how she played the game and stuff.
And she doesn't dance.
What do you think about this song though? Because I mean, I feel like you are the target of this way more than I am.
Yep. Definitely always a smart move to get Riri on one of your songs. It's, she's amazing. And, especially now, I think that she probably has, even more fans than she ever did. So it's a great song, but it's poppy. I'm gonna give it that, But he definitely, he does his part, and it's not necessarily poppy. It's just on a pop beat, and then it has Rihanna, who's kind of poppy. So he's sort of just like fighting with himself and like
Hold
out.
on.
Yes.
Doubling up your vocals and singing, not much of a pop, and I know somebody once told me. That's so poppy. Like, I don't know how much more poppy you can get than that.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, but I just mean like he's still rapping, but like he's still pretty poppy. Yeah. And like I said, so he's like outwardly he seems one way, but inside he's dealing with like pain and like that monster that like wants to like get out and then like kind of take over his life. I mean, I love this song. It is a really just like a great song. It is definitely like a pop hit, and like it still plays on the radio. It's still, going on. And I think this is their 4th song together. So like there's obviously like a good working relationship between the two of them. And, he's kind of talking about his struggles, with like OCD and like addiction, and also like trying to like control himself, like that monster that's within him. And like I think that might also, like, a part of it be his ego, like, which kind of comes out and kind of takes over and like things like that. I don't know, I love this song. I still listen to it. I think they both do like a fantastic job, and I think that they make a great team, so I give this a 5 on 5.
Fun fact, Eminem pissed off his neighbors because, as we learn later on, he has a mansion but lives in a house, which is apparently true because his neighbors complained about his yodeling because he was practicing the yodeling for this track, and it was obnoxious. Imagine you live next to Eminem, and you live next to Eminem, and he's in the backyard because he got kicked out.
Like, come on, go into like your basement or like your recording room or whatever and practice it there.
And then you're just walking by and it's Eminem yodeling. Like, what are you gonna do? Eminem can just pay the noise complaint ticket. I mean, I don't have a lot to comment on this track. It is exactly what it is. It's good. I really enjoy it. Like, you got your fun lines, like, because all I wanted to do is be the Bruce Lee's of loose leaf. He delivers. He does it all. It's fun. It's goofy. He manages to yodel in a song, and he's getting a 4.5 on 5. Because it really is well done. And part of it is really just like, I listen to it a lot in my life, and when I hear it today after 7 years, I still enjoy the feeling of listening to this song. I think it delivers. I would say that if like I was looking at the hits on his album, this isn't encouraging to me for his future of his career. I think this is predictive of where he's going. And if I'm like one of those pure hip hop heads who hates pop music, I totally can understand why you don't. But I love pop and I love hip hop. So hearing this, to me, it's a good mix of the two. I think it's a smash. I think it's like when Eminem, this is like the best pop song on this album.
Okay.
Most of the other ones on this album do miss. They're not great. This one, or they're all right. They're generic. This one is distinct. Like, it just stands out. And we all know Rihanna carries this track way more than Eminem does. Like, think about the earworms. The like, that shit stuck in you. When you're thinking about it after, it's almost like the chorus slams harder than any one of his verses.
Well, yeah.
And that's not the same thing as Love the Way You Lie, where those verses slap as hard as the chorus. Right, so that is an interesting transition on this. It's fine, like it's cool, but like I don't know that the intervention line is cool. Like, it's kind of cheesy. It's like, I don't know, like I like it. It's just not 5 on 5 amazing. It's just a really great song where I'm gonna have to admit nostalgia plays into why it gets such a good mark. And if I came into this fresh without like a lot of memories of trying to sing it and learn it, like I might not feel the same way. But it's cool following Stronger Than I Was in the conceptual point, because so Rap God, the whole first half of the album up until Rap God seems to be a lot about his career and legacy. Then we go rewind back right? So that was the dad chapter. He became a rapper to say fuck you to his dad. Now we're on the other side of his life. So we rewind. Brainless starts off his mom. So he brings up his mom really for the first time here, talking about how he's crazy. So we're back at the youth. And in a sense, maybe that's why he redoes it, to kind of rewind, and now let's go on a different path.
Yeah.
So he's emotionally fucked up on Stronger Than I Was. The monster, he's embracing the shit that he's emotionally fucked up. And then he continues this trend of emotional fucked up loveness as he kind of goes through the rest of it, as we can check out the next track. Well, maybe not so much on So Far, but he does keep that theme going throughout the rest of this.
Yeah.
But even So Far, let's get into it.
Okay.
So as I was going on, like, for this track, right, like, it kind of has this semblance of a love-hate relationship and a complicated emotional state with his fame.
Yeah.
Right? So it does stay in that core theme, and this time we discuss it. So it's almost like the first half of the album was about, like, Eminem, the persona.
Okay.
And then the second half of the album is about Marshall Mathers, the man. It's kind of the main point I was trying to drive home. What do you think about this track, though?
I mean, I like the little, like, scratch at the beginning that sounds like the intro, or not necessarily the intro, but, like, it sounds like an Eric B. and Rakim scratch, you know. Again, throwback to, like, his roots. And he sounds like he's trying to, like, imitate another performer that we will soon see on this album, Nate Ruess. I don't know how to say his name. And at the same time, it definitely sounds like very country and, like, kind of like shouting out, like, you know, I guess, like, the rednecks in Detroit that, like, you know, supported him and, you know, kept him going, and thanking them. And, you know, it's sort of like a song for, like, his roots and sort of like all the things that kind of, like, made him come together. It just kind of, like, does that. And, you know, I like the throwback to, like, old songs that he kind of does on this one. Like, it's not necessarily one that, like, I'd really, like, go for, just because it's, like, a little too country for my likings, but it's cool that he did that, and that, you know, he does touch on different genres as part being, like, an influence on him in his life and his music. So I give it a 4 on 5.
I really enjoy it. I think this song has a charm to it where I'll agree the country is not my favorite part of it, and that's maybe why it's not higher graded for me. But in general, this track is fun to listen to. Like, this is actually, like, kind of the opposite. Like, I'm not as drawn to it originally, but there's so many lines in it that are goofy, that are fun. Like, it's really not that serious. It's like this, in this moment, the one-liner landscape he paints about his life is kind of interesting, because you get this sense of, like, you know, like, oh shit, I'm trying to, like, go to the store and people are fucking noticing me and I can't go shopping at, you know, Costco properly anymore. You know, it's fucking funny. I feel like this lyric just sums up the entire song. Mule, I'm as stubborn as. Because he says mule, I'm as stubborn as, but the way he says as is ass, so it's mule, I'm a stubborn ass.
Yep.
But mule, I'm as stubborn as, because you're stubborn as. And that's the song. Everything in this song is written like that. And it's really great. When Eminem does this, I think he truly shines. This is his biggest strength, is these fucking things. But then it's just like shit where it's like, yo, so I can't even take a shit. I run into Todd and he, like, fucking scribbles notes, and it's kind of goofing on what happened in The Way I Am, right? It's goofing on, like, they can't even take a shit in the bathroom stall. Or
yeah.
What's really fun is at the end of the second verse when he goes, other day someone got all elaborate, and then the beat flips up and stuck a head from a fucking dead cat in my mailbox, because when I'm back, the bullies left him alone after he stuck a dead cat in the mailbox, and he said Eminem's a psycho. So now, and then it flips into the real Slim Shady. Went to Burger King. They spit on my onion rings. I think my karma's catching up on me. And that shit is actually really funny, and it's rewarding to me as an Eminem fan from that era. Like, this song was actually written for me as the longtime Eminem fan. It's so full of Easter eggs. It's just got so many goofy fucking moments. I love also the part where it's like, chunk music, Yellow Wolf's better, fucking bitch. Like, because that's actually what's going on in his life. He picks up Yellow Wolf and he's getting all this buzz. Not entirely, like, let's be real, Yellow Wolf never passed them. But that definitely started happening as women wanted the hotter, younger, white, trashier. Because, straight up, Eminem, Yellow Wolf is more attractive than Eminem. He's covered in tattoos in a more appealing way. Like, I'm not like trying to imply I'm like hitting on him, but objective marketability is what it is. Yo.
He's hotter.
The chorus is just fun, but really, I think where this track really shines is when he's like, "Got friends on Facebook all over the world."
Yeah.
Not sure what that means. They tell me it's as good. And I love the way he goes, "I'm artist of the decade." And the way he says, "I'm artist of the decade," almost kind of sounds like I'm on Instagram. Like the way he says it is almost homophoning in that regard, which I think is kind of clever. If it's true. And, you know, even got a plaque. I'd hang it up, but the frame is all cracked. Get it? Butt crack. And it's just, that's my Marshall. Like, that's where it's okay. When you're doing dad jokes, you can always be goofy and immature. It's when you're acting goofy and immature that it's not cool, you know? Like this song comes off like Eminem embracing dad jokes. And I love that about this song. And it makes me really enjoy listening to it. Anyway, overall, I like it. I can't say much more about it. It's a 4.5 on 5. It's really great. It's all over, and it picks up the album, in my opinion. And then we move into a very spectacular moment on this project.
Let's play a love game, Again, not to be confused with Gaga.
And everything about this song is fucking brilliant. It is one of the greatest Eminem songs, on the other hand of the coin. And I feel like it's kind of underrated, and people don't really listen to this enough.
Yeah.
Probably because of the album it's on and the era, but holy shit. Rick Rubin, what does he do? Takes a very popular sample, doesn't change it very much, adds some heavy drums. Rick Rubin, classic. And it really is, though. You see it all over M's career when Rick Rubin's name is there. Eminem's just great. Like, off the jump, this is the kind of Eminem love song corrupt shit that I love. Okay, like, it is just so funny. So having this on the album makes Stronger Than I Was garbage.
Yeah.
Like, it really does. Anyway, so I could go through it. It is a long and crazy fucking story. In the first verse, he like walks in on this girl's house. It's her house, and he catches her fucking some guy. But the way it goes down is hilarious, and it's so creative. I caught this for the first time, and you know why? It's because I don't remember who. Jonathan Barnes got us to do a Tribe Called Quest's A Low End Theory.
Right.
I hadn't listened to that one properly, so that was this year. And so we got to this part, so I think I give it the benefit of the doubt. I think I might be able to bust a buster. That's so scary, yo, though, and it hurts, Bryce. Hope it ain't. Here we go, now. And I'm like, oh my gosh. He flips into the scenario flow after the buster, which is in that shit.
Yeah.
And then, because my head already goes to worst case scenario throughout the first place. But yo, you confirm my low end theory, though.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, bars of the album right there, because I didn't get it back in the day.
But, like,
I never
true.
even caught that before. But the fact
And you
that
wouldn't if you didn't know it.
but he flips into the whole flow and everything seamlessly, and then back out of it does some crazy ass baseball bars, dove all the way, third base because it was the first day, going all the way to home plate, and then but you slid straight first for the dome again, filling in dough face first. No, really, it's just so good as she's literally sucking the dick and trying to get out of it, and it's fucking hilarious. And then she's sucking on a bunch of famous people, and what's really cool is the Kanye line just keeps going, Kanye, LeBron, Kanye, LeBron, and it's good. It's all rhyming. And then the chorus comes in, and you have the Wayne Fontana sample, and then Kendrick, Lamar. Apparently Kendrick came in just to do the chorus, and M kind of got him in, and this is a week before the Control verse. Control verse, if you don't know what that is when Kendrick Lamar name dropped like a bunch of rappers and tore up the game back in the day. So there's this idea that Kendrick did this verse with Eminem and then was so inspired to go do this. But anyway, so Eminem's in the studio, Kendrick lays the chorus, and then he was like, yo, Kendrick, you want to do a verse? And then he made everybody leave so that Kendrick could write and record the verse by himself. And in a way, it's a way to ensure that only Kendrick wrote the verse.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I didn't even know Eminem was G like that. Anyway, Kendrick's coming and does the chorus. It's beautiful. He does his verse, and I love the flow on it. Fun fact, I'm pretty proud of my ability to change voices in the middle of a conversation and just kind of keep going, and I can kind of do a whole bunch of ranges and shit and expressions, and I mean, she can attest to that. But it was mostly this song. actually that helped me develop that skill set when I was younger. Because listen to Kendrick's verse and how he has a different voice every fucking 4 bars. So I'm the kind of guy to be like, I told that bitch I'm a sucker for love, you a sucker for dick. But then I'd flip it up to, Sharon is not available, I leave a message after time to Kendrick, I forget about you. So I would try to practice flipping every one of these fucking voice names. It's brilliant. So in Kendrick's case, he feels like an idiot because he's following up with Shireen and she's fucking everybody and he's caught up on her, and so he's owning it, and it really fits into Eminem, and I love that he ties it into Shireen because that ties into his life and all of that shit brings you back to good things. But he's also like got some political lines like, I want you as bad as the head shattered on George Zimmerman, which is a good line because he wants that head so bad. Like, oh, Kendrick's a G. Back before Kendrick gets so famous that he's damn Kendrick with the ego. Anyway, it's so good. Everything down to the chlamydia, couldn't even get rid of her. Pity the fool and pity the fool of me. I'ma live with that shame of love. I really love this song. I really fucking do. Eminem's last verse is literally nuts, okay? It is this fucking story. We don't have to go through all the bars. What is really important, though, is he's going through this shit. He sends this girl a text, and shit's clearing up. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, she's screaming. He body slams this girl onto the cement until the concrete gave and created a sinkhole. He buried the stinkhole in it, then paid to have the street repaved. And this was so preposterous to even Eminem. He's like, why am I paying to fix the hole in my dream? And he's like, the fuck? Woke up in a dream state, goes through this whole thing. He realizes he's next to her. So this whole time he's trying to get away. In this dream, he's with her, and then he goes nuts, and he's fucking going crazy. Like, and it's just the part where I love it. Like, I confess I'm a static addict. I guess that's why I'm so clingy. Every girl I ever had says I got too much baggage, or I'm too of a fucking dramatic man. What the fuck is the matter? I'm just a fucking... I love it. I love the way he fucking combative, possessive, in fact, it just is so good. It's just so fucking fun. The way it flows all over the place. Sends the girl a fucking car message. She dies in a car crash. She can't get over it. I don't know. It flows into this whatever. And then I like when he's like, you want an intimate date? I want to intimidate. I have infinite hate in the blood. It's mainly because of... Wait, dinner at 8. I have infinite... It's like he interrupts his like fucking recording of the take because she's so powerful. Her interruption makes it onto the album, and he can't even get rid of it because it's so perfect. And then he just finishes the verse. Like, it's just on every level of a brilliant Eminem song. This is the most, I think, artistically, like, what we loved about Eminem back in the day brought to the table on this, and it's because he had to compete against a rapper that actually made him fucking step up, I think. And I'm pretty sure Eminem already had his bars down, but he knew Kendrick was going to be on this track because he'd invited him in. And I think it's amazing that the only rap feature on the album ends up with, honestly, the most impressive storytelling. The most like you might not agree with me, but like, I could listen to this song 1,000 times and it's not like it gets boring. It's just so diverse and alive.
Yeah, it's fun.
So it's a 5 on 5. I don't know if this is my favorite song because Rap God is... I like Rap God for different reasons. I respect Rap God. I really fucking enjoy Love Game.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, like, super cool, you know, and Kendrick was, like, super hot at this time as well. So, I mean, again, a great person to have on your album, you know, to kind of get, like, the next, you know, like, his fans and, like, you know, try to draw in some more, you know, fans, I guess, essentially. And this one has, like, a nice beat, a super fun flow. Like, it's, you know, very, like, 60s inspired because the song that was sampled and, like, the beat and, like, the, you know, like, the background vocals, like, that is a 60s song. And, like, it is a fun song as it is. Their rhymes are both great. Like, I don't know. Kendrick is awesome and, like, brings, like, this kind of... like fresh feeling to like Eminem's like song, and like it sounds great, and like it is like fresh. Like that's like a pretty good word I can like use to like describe it. So it has like nice long verses that they each have like, you know, a good chance to kind of tell their story. I don't know. It's super fun, and I really like this one. I give it a 4.6 on 5.
Just to touch on that freshness, like I said earlier, really like Music to Be Murdered By. I don't actually know if you've heard it in full. It is a brilliant album, but part of why it's a brilliant album is the fact that he brought in so many rappers to rap with that were good rappers. Like, he brings Black Thought on the album. He has Ruess on a couple of tracks. Like, he brings in Anderson .Paak even at one point and just fucks with him like that. So he's talking about elite dudes in the game right now, and forces Eminem to be with it. And I thought it was just a smart choice on M's part to do that, and it makes that album come off alive and fresh, because I don't actually think Eminem can hold down an hour, 20 minutes of just Eminem anymore. I just don't think he can do it because artistically it's kind of boring when he's at this point. Right. So working with other people seems to tap into that amazingness because, having Kendrick there fucked it up. It just made it next level. Anyway, let's move on to a different track called Headlights.
All right.
I mean, this track kind of ties into the whole mother-father flip over. It kind of culminates it. So this is, I guess, the second main time he brings up his mom. Even though his mom said he was brainless earlier on the album, this was a really emotionally powerful and charged song the first time I heard it.
Yeah.
As an Eminem fan, you go through that whole journey. I mean, I guess at that point it had been like half my life almost with Eminem, right? I mean, from 12 to 26 I'm an Eminem fan.
Yeah.
And just to hear him be cleaning out my closet and all the other songs, I regret that, it was bad, talking about how fucked up it was, but almost taking the empathy to communicate on how his empathy to her sickness and why she was like that. And I can relate to that because my dad's kind of fucked up in the same way his mom's fucked up. So I can kind of empathize with what it's like to grow up, lose the hate in your soul, and have a sense of sorrow and a desire for a distant love, because it can't work, but you can't hate them. You just understand. And then Nate Ruess. What a weird fucking choice, right? And it's because he sampled a fun song, right? I think that's why it's there. But I don't even know if Nate showed up in the studio for this, because I'm going to bring that up. I don't know. Maybe he did. I don't actually know.
I think he did. He's featured, so I think he definitely did something.
He's there, but why him? Fun was not
they were
good.
popping. He was album of the year,
but there was
artist
one
of the year
album,
or
right?
something.
And then he went and did his solo shit after. And I guess he was kind of big for a minute, but in hindsight, it's such a weird choice.
Yeah, in hindsight, it's weird because what is he doing now?
That Fun song is really, he's like a woman beating asshole. If you look at the lyrics of that one that we all like the that shit. I don't remember what it's called. We are young or whatever. He's an asshole in that song. He sounds like such a douchebag, honestly. Anyway. But so fine. I guess we are who we. It's whatever. And Eminem's second verse is really heartfelt, and the whole story of the last time they saw each other, and I don't have to go through it. There's 0 bars in this track that are next level. The whole plane crash shit at the end is kind of whack. It's what it is. It's fine. It's all cutesy. It's all nice. It's an emotional track, and it gives you a real sense of closure on this album for the thing that it kind of ties in. But then there's the bridge, and where he goes, I want to start a new life, whatever. When he goes, and what does he say? He says a plane at one point. We didn't hear it in my speakers, but in my fucking Audio Technicas, when he goes, and if the plane goes down, and I don't want to pop it, but he pops that P. If you listen to it, it pops. It pops.
Pop that P.
So, you don't hear it in speakers. It's kind of you need headphones for that. When I say pop, I mean...
But there is, some staticiness to it.
And then... when I'm talking straight up, you hit the P too hard, it's a skill to not hit that P too hard. And you learn how, because I've hit a whole bunch of P's up in this thing. I actually soften my lips and make sure that I don't pop that P, because I learned that recording at home. So maybe I'm just sensitive to it. I will scrap a fucking vocal take if there is one P that pops, because my engineer can't fix a popped P. You just can't fix that. If it's popped, it's too fucking late. So I can get past the one of them. But when he goes, because I put my faith in little girls, oh my gosh, the whole fucking line pops 4 times. How the fuck did this get through Interscope, through fucking everybody involved on an Eminem project, to literally have staticky popping, you compressed the vocals too far and somehow didn't check it on all the speakers? It audibly was offensive to me that got through on a studio Eminem album. Maybe that's a little bit harsh, but I've never actually had a production issue before. This is somebody failed on the production front of a song. Never in the entire history of this channel have I been that's a quality check fail. You guys have the money to make Mr. Fun show up in the studio and redo the fucking take, okay? You guys are worth 9 figures at this point.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. That is embarrassing. I want to like the song because of how emotional it is, but look, I gave it a 4.25 because that is one aspect of the track, but I don't think I'm ever going to listen to the song again because of that awful popping sound I can't get out of my head now. And why does he end up so robotic? As the thing goes on, they blend his voice. He's like, like it's some fucking awful robot noise that comes up. So it just, why was that necessary? Let's be real. The fun guy can sing. He didn't need robot noises and effects like that put on. Like, you can't be sitting there making fun of auto-tune and then auto-tune Nate Ruess or whatever so that his fucking voice sounds like that. Because what the fuck, dude? Because, yeah, Eminem does hate on auto-tune later on. So, anyway, the song's a 4.25 because it's more like the end of the track that feels that way. And if you're not really picky, you'll get past it.
Yeah. Anyways, I thought we were gonna have a bit of fun on this one, but I guess not. This is apparently over John Lennon's song "Mother," which is a great song, and it's the same sort of thing. Like it was after like she had died. He's sort of like forgiving her and kind of just saying that he still loves her and everything else. So it's the same sort of feeling, and like it's kind of cool that he's kind of pulling that in as well. So he's just kind of talking about how he feels bad for like kind of hurting his mom through his music, and that he's saying that he still loves her no matter what, because she is always going to be his mother. And like a lot of things happened that led to the lives that they currently have. And, he realizes that, maybe she's not, fully fit in the mind. And, that's kind of why they can't really hang out anymore. And, he's sort of forgiving her and, saying like, everything isn't her fault and she did the best that she could and, loves her and like all of that. And that, like, he's realizing now, like, kind of that, his dad really wasn't around, and, that couldn't have been easy on her either, especially with everything else that was going on in her, in her life. And talks about Nate a lot, like the brother. I think he passed away, I think, right? And like all about that. And, like he's saying that, the mom, his mom was like his mom and his dad. And like she, did the best that she could in both roles, and, hope that she kind of like gets it. Like, even if like she's not in his life, like he still, he still loves her even from like a distance, like I said, and it is a constant weight on his mind. Like his mom is always thinking, he's always thinking about his mom and like the kind of hate that he said to her and the things that he did and everything else. And and then we have Nate Ruess, I don't know how to say his name. I thought he was good on the chorus. I did notice it when you pointed it out, like how crappy like the
was on the
production
bridge,
was.
not on the chorus.
Anyways, so he's good, and I think it is a good fit, and I think it was again sort of like a popular choice at the time, and it is sort of a not necessarily like somber, but like more just emotional and realizing and kind of like I don't know, feelings. So it is also very like pop radio friendly, so it kind of benefited both of the the artist on this song. So, but I mean, it is like hella good.
Nate. He has no career after this. I don't know if it really
I don't think that it
benefited him.
I don't think it made his life worse. I'm pretty sure like working with Eminem is a good thing. So like it is a good song, and it's not necessarily my favorite, but they both are pretty great artists, and they both did all right, and it is powerful, like what Eminem is saying. So I give this a 4.85 on 5.
Okay. All right. The last track on the album proper is called Evil Twin.
Okay.
I don't want to spend too much time on this track because there's not a lot I can really contribute to it. Basically, the first part of each verse is Eminem, and the second part is Slim Shady, and he has his evil twin come in, and he drops a shit ton of flows under both personas. There's a slight tone shift, but frankly, if he didn't say, "Let me introduce my evil twin," there's fucking no difference between the Eminem and the Slim Shady parts on this. It's like they're just kind of, it's the same shit. My favorite thing is when he's like, hip, hi, ho, hooray. And he's like, no, I'm not trying to be like the chorus on Hip Hop Hooray. I thought that was funny because it's just so random. But also what's worth kind of interesting is when he goes, because they're worse when they're reverse motherfucker, and then he reverses motherfucker, and it's and then he's like rape your mother. It's just said in the same like distorted thing, and then he has shit backwards. So technically, if you reverse this tape, you'll still hear fucking cussing.
There you go.
I'm like, okay. And it's just fine. Like, I mean, it's a pretty good song as far as everything goes. And I like the fact that he's, like, addressing the fact in the second verse, like, who am I going to go for? I fucking came at everybody. I'm not interested in Jessica Alba's. Really what he's saying is I haven't been on the internet in a while. I'm not up to date with modern pop stars.
With who's doing what?
Because really that's what happens here. Because Eminem is not in the loop anymore. And Eminem was anti-internet for a while. And so Eminem got in the loop again. And that's why his modern music hits a little bit harder, because he is able to go at Joe Budden when it's relevant or take out an MGK in a kill shot. But, like, who the fuck cares about Jessica Simpson or Alba in 2013, really?
But I think that's what he's saying. He's not messing with them anymore. Like, he's over it.
He starts off with, so who's left? Lady Gaga? Mess with the Bieber? Nah. F with Christina? It's almost like he's done with this, is more what I feel like he's saying. Yeah. But what I really think happened, because he wasn't done with it, he kept doing it for the rest of his fucking career, is that he was out of the loop at this time, so he probably made a whole bunch of tracks, and everyone's like, yo, like, nobody fucking cares about these people no more, stop dating yourself. And that, like, yo, honestly, that would be, like, something that's not really present, is relevant to 2013. This is one of the least dateable albums because of that. Right. Because, like, he isn't up to date with pop culture, so he's not lacing it.
Yep, that's true.
I mean, it's fair. A lot of it is older references that just work in the future. It's just what it is, man. I like it when he goes, please come in. What's your name again? Hi! Like the hi, my name is. Yep. And then he just goes, faggot. And you're like, oh, look who's back up. A crab up his ass with a lobster crawled in. 2 rabbits, a koala. It's like, it sounds great to listen to, but, like, it's what it is. That's this track. It's a good outro in the sense that, like, Eminem and Slim Shady are back, and I feel like Eminem is highly impressive, but he definitely doesn't deliver on the promise of what this song is supposed to be. Nothing in this song is overly obscene. It's more like dad joke Eminem toning it down, like, hey guys, I'm never gonna be as venomous anymore.
Yeah,
is what it feels like, but under the ruse of I'm going in hard. I don't know. I like this track. There are so many great lines, but it's just not amazing. It's just a good song on this album, so I give it a 4.25.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It is, he's trying to go in hard, and, he sounds kind of like angry and whatever, and, he does have good rhymes. He's loud, he's aggressive, he is what he is, and he sort of like made everyone feel, he's reminding us that he made everybody feel like they were part of the music, like they were part of his journey and everything else that they did, like that, he talks about the fans often, and so he kind of brings you into his music, and I think that that's kind of cool that he does that, so you're almost seeing things through his eyes, and like it's, I don't know, it goes on and on like that. So and he talks about the fact that his evil twin is Slim Shady, and but I suppose it could also be like, and many of his other alter egos that has had. But he's always going to have that kind of like evil side of him, that kind of dangerous side of him, more like that egotistical rock star version of him. And so he's trying to kind of like tame himself down. And I think that at this point he was like much more like a homebody, like he wasn't really going out too much. And he feels crazy and mentions, like the people in the music business at the time, and kind of just seeing like there isn't that much competition out there for him. There isn't anybody that's going to like really like step up. I think he's kind of talking about that as well.
And to this day, who the fuck stepped up?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's good. It's strong. I like it. I give it a 4.5 on 5.
Fair. And I mean that. Who has really stepped up? There are tons of clones. I think Logic's kind of trash. I think Joyner Lucas is trash. You'll notice we didn't I made Chris review the Joyner album. I didn't want to review it. A lot of these M clones, because it's fascinating, right? Because like M did a track with Joyner, M did a track a lot. Evidently, there's a crossover fan base, but it really just tells me that a lot of like 16 and 22-year-olds are into that like old school Eminem sound. Yeah. What I really like about this track just before we close out, is that he didn't go very fast on it. A lot of it was very bars driven.
Yeah.
And it was message, and it was meant to be something you could digest and prove he can still write. But that's the album. Like I said, if you get this video to 500 likes, because we've never had that before, we'll do the other part. Otherwise, we'll move on with our life. Don't worry. We'll still get back to more Eminem tracks. There's Shady X5. There's another D12 album.
We'll find them.
Anyway, plenty to get to. There's a lot of mixtapes M did too. There's all the battle raps. There's so much Eminem to still talk about. Plus, he is allegedly working on a project now, but doubtful we'll see it this year. But if he does drop 2 albums this year, that would be amazing, because Music to Be Murdered by it's truly a great album. I really stand by it. And if you really want to watch me talk about it for like 4 hours, you can. It's on this channel. Anyhow, I give the album a 4.168. Yeah, it's a low ass grade.
Yeah.
You may have noticed I'm grading a little lower than I used to, but the album isn't that impressive. I think he does deliver on the sequel in the conceptual side of being true to what the first album was. And the first album was a polarized feel. So there was a lot of couplings of songs that went back and forth. I think he does deliver on that idea here. Sonically, it sounds nothing like the last album. And I think, or there's a couple of tracks here and there that kind of tap into it. But I think that's the issue, is sonically it doesn't deliver. And there's one other thing that really makes it hard to like this is a Marshall Mathers LP project. Ken Knapp, Steve Berman, like, where are the skits?
Yeah, that's
They're not
true.
and it needs to be there, right? Parking Lot as a skit is more of
it's not so good.
It's more of a Marshall. It was more of an Eminem show move, you
Right.
know, like, so it just didn't feel
Complete.
right. Again, why is it only 16 tracks? Like, that was my first thought. I'm like, Eminem used to make 20 track experiences, almost like it was on purpose to make it 20 tracks. $1 per track per mechanical royalty, and that's why they used to do it back in the day. There was a royalty reason. You get more money, like the label gets more money for having a 20 track project than not. So there's an actual, anyway,
Incentive.
so I guess maybe that was past that, but I just thought it was a fascinating thing. I like the album, but I think I like individual songs more, and there's a lot of this album that is really hollow, is the truth, and that I never noticed before. And I think even if I think about Recovery, there's a few hollow songs. You don't want to go back to it. But
It's
think
like the
about
middle ones.
Relapse. Let's be real. Relapse is a really great art project with a lot of songs that were just art projects. It wasn't like Relapse is a great story in terms of the album, but like, it's hard to listen to. So I can kind of get now, like, and then you think back to MMLP1, you're like, nah, I can just play that shit A to Z, and it's like fucking good the whole way through. So yeah, I like the album, but I kind of don't see the magic in it. I just think it has some good moments.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that.
I'm not calling it a classic.
Oh, okay. All right. I give this one a 4.42 on 5, so I liked it a little bit more than you did. So it's an 88%. I do agree. I think that this one is, like, has some strong hits on it, and like some, like, you know, ones that you would want to see live and things like that. But then I think a lot of the other ones do kind of fall short, and, you know, they're not really necessarily stuff that we need to hear about. It is just kind of reminiscing on the past, and, you know, we get it that, you know, life sucks, poor little rich boy, and you know, it's kind of like that, but like, it's less like pointed, I guess, in that sense. It's more just like him reflecting on the past, and he's just kind of like, I wish I could have made better decisions, and I hope that I can going forward. And it's just sort of like that, I guess. But it's fine. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's the end of this review.
There we go.
I mean, I know this is a long video, but keep in mind that we might have done like 3 parts to do the same amount of content the last time, so we did our best to make this as shorter and to the point as possible. I hope you enjoyed this, I guess, faster format for us. It was a new thing. Let us know in the comments what you thought. What do you think of this album? How does it live up to your expectations?
Yeah.
All of that good stuff. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel for more content. We will be back with weekly classic album reviews. Next one, I guess, will be a lady rapper, because we should have done that for 2 episodes ago. But whatever, we're gonna do the next one, and then we'll move into it. And,
we'll get there.
Special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, Linda Williams, DJ Black Hurricane, Scribble, and Carl. They're dope. They support what we do. And if you want to support what we do, you can check the link below. I'm about to redo the Patreon and shit, so expect that to happen in the very near future. I make music myself. I have an album dropping this month. Hopefully, we're waiting on the mastering.
There we go.
And then otherwise,
No popping peas for him.
I'm very like last minute with my releasing. I'm not really, because I'm trying to do a lot rather than caring if you guys buy it. Anyway, so you can check that out. Links in description. And it's fun to be back. I miss this. So live long and prosper, everyone.
Bye, guys.